Hey, y'all, we're here to talk about concept 5 and when segments intersect, what the relationship is between the angles and the arcs that are formed. So we have one theorem here that works for all three instances of segments intersecting outside of a circle. So two secants, as in the first picture on the left, a secant and a tangent, or two tangents. And in all of those, we're going to have an angle that's formed, and we're going to call that angle 1. I'm going to show you in red. So in each of these, the two lines form an angle outside of the circle there. And we're just going to call it angle 1 in this case. It might be named something different depending on which problem you're doing. They also form two types of arcs, a big arc and a small arc. So in green, in each of these, I'll show you the big arc. And it's formed in between the two lines. And then here in blue, I'll show you the small arc. Again, the small arc is between the two lines. So we have other arcs formed in the first two scenarios, but they're not between the two lines that make the arcs, so those aren't the arcs we're concerned with. And we call the green one the big arc simply because it's bigger than the other one. So pause the video here. Using that theorem, find the value of y. So we start with the formula, the measure of the angle. We'll just say angle 1 is 1/2 times the big arc minus the small arc. And I just want to make a note here that multiplying by 1/2 is the same thing as dividing by 2, so we can actually rewrite this formula if it's more comfortable for you as the big arc minus the small arc divided by 2. Both of these are the same. They look a little different, but they mean the same thing. So do whatever you're comfortable with. The angle we're looking for is y. The big arc is 110. The small arc is 30. Now all we have to do is simplify, and I did make a mistake. Of course, I do that to show you that mistakes happen. You got to check your work. So you should get that y is 40 degrees. Pause the video again and try this example. This time we're looking for the measure of the small arc. So I am, as always, going to start with my formula, and I like this version of the formula. Eliminates the parentheses. This time I know the measure of the angle, it's 25 degrees. I know the measure of the big arc, again, is 110. I'm looking for the small arc, which is y. To get rid of this 2 here, I'm going to multiply both sides by 2. And these cancel and leave us with 110 minus y. I'll subtract 110 from both sides. And we don't want to know the value of negative y. We want to know the value of positive y. So we can either multiply by -1 or divide by -1 and get that y is 60 degrees. If we have two segments that meet, or two lines that meet and intersect inside an arc, like this example, then we actually have 4 angles that are formed. And for any one of those angles, this relationship exists. So this angle 1, which is also congruent to this angle because they're vertical, that measure is going to be equal to the sum of these two arcs formed. And sometimes we like to say we get a bow tie formed. So the arcs that are part of the bow tie, if we add those together and multiply by 1/2, or again we can just add them and divide by 2. We'll get the measure of that angle. So pause the video and use that relationship here and find the value of x. And again, I like this version, arc 1 plus arc 2 divided by 2. And remember that these are parts of the names. We're not multiplying by 1 or 2. So I'll plug in what I know. I'm looking for angle x. It doesn't matter which one's arc 1 or which one's arc 2. One of them's 45, the other is 30. And I can just simplify. And I get that x is 37.5 degrees. That means that this angle is also 37.5 degrees. Pause the video again and use that formula and find the value of x. This time we're looking for the measure of one of the arcs. So we start, as always, with our formula. And we'll plug in what we know. We know that the angle is 35 degrees. We're looking for one of the arcs. I'll just say we're looking for arc 1. The other arc is 30. We need to multiply both sides by 2 here to get rid of the 2. And then we can just keep going. We'll subtract 30. And we'll get that arc 1 is equal to 40 degrees. So using your two theorems, I want you to try these two problems. Make sure to submit your answers online. And find x in number 1, find y in number 2. Good luck.